Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Red and Blue Site YouTube channel. We are back from the international break. It's been quite a long couple of weeks. It always is, especially when it's games like the Nations League and games that aren't like major tournaments and qualifiers, things like that. It's just very slow, very slow. We all want the Premier League to be back, and it is finally here. Palace are back, and we're all, I think I speak very Palace fan, very eagerly awaiting the return of the Premier League with the chance of seeing some of our new signings in the matchday squad. This is the Palace preview for our game against Leicester City on Saturday. We're obviously off the back of a fantastic point away from home. I was there at Chelsea away from home, and it was a very good point at the end of the day. After quite a poor first half, in my opinion, we then rallied through in the second half. Adam Wharton and Corey absolutely were fantastic in the midfield in that second half, and I think will be a sign of things to come going forward. Maybe a little spoiler there for my lineup prediction, which I will talk about in just a second. But yeah, a fantastic second half, a really well taken goal from Eze, lovely finish, and it was a deserved point in the end. I think we were lucky not to have Will Hughes sent off, but you know, you need a little bit of luck when you're going against the top six sides, a side like Chelsea away from home, and we've obviously had, it was well documented, a very long losing run against Chelsea. I think 13 games in a row or something silly like that. So to end that run and to get our first point on the board this season, that's all you can ask for in games like this, away to top sides like Chelsea. Even though they're not the Chelsea of old, they're still a very good team, and have an abundance of players to bring off the bench, a really good depth in the squad. And it's a great point to get. It's a great point to get. And as I said, it gets our season off the mark, gets us running. Obviously, none of the deadline day signings were able to play in that game, which means we could be seeing a few of them feature for the first time to make their debuts in the game against Leicester City at home at the weekend. So that's the little look back at the Chelsea game. Looking ahead to this Leicester City game, and the video obviously is the preview for that match. I do think we will see new faces in the team. I think we'll finally have a bit more depth. We obviously, because of the players going out like Jordan Ayew, Edouard on loan, we were lacking a lot of depth up front. We had Ismail Assar coming off the bench against Chelsea up front to give Mateta a rest. That won't be the case this time round, because obviously Nketiah will be available. Chalobah, Lacroix will all be available, and the bench is going to be looking very, very healthy in this game. In terms of Leicester City, the opposition, we'll talk a bit about them before I get into how I think their game's going to go and what to expect from us and Glasner and how we set up and obviously predicted lineups. Leicester obviously under Cooper this season, they're playing a lot more with a lot of pace in the side. Look to play quite quickly on the counter attack. I think he's incorporating a lot what we did and the success he got in terms of keeping Nottingham Forest up and bringing that into this Leicester City side. They've obviously had quite a few signings, and they've had the big news, obviously, over the international break of not having that the penalty points against them. They won their court case with the Premier League, and in terms of all the financial stuff that's been going on at the club, and you know, having a loss and etc. etc. So that's massive for them, and it's especially important that they don't lose points and they're not on the back foot before the season really got going. They obviously got 1 point on the board, same as us. But with the signings that they've made in the squad, and I can see them lining up the same way that they did in their last game against Villa, which they narrowly lost before the international break. I think that Cooper's a good manager for them, and they're growing into. I think there's progress there. Obviously, Leicester City fans, please comment your thoughts down below. If I'm wrong, let me know. But from what I see, I think that each game you're seeing is a progress and a build with what the players are producing on the pitch and the style of football that he's trying to incorporate. As I said, more of a counter-attacking style. And I think it suits the squad quite well, that counter-attacking style, especially with obviously players like Jamie Vardy up top, who's a clinical finisher in front of goal. Maybe lost that yard of pace now at his age, but he's still got the ability to finish in front of goal. Fatou on the wings, our man who has now gone to Leicester, Jordan Ayew. It's going to be really weird seeing him play against us. A great sale, I think, on our side of things at the time. As much of a cult hero he was at the club and everyone loved him, I think it was a good sale at the time for the stage he's at in his career. But for Leicester City, and there's no disrespect to them, but as a newly promoted team, he's a perfect sort of player to have in. Experienced Premier League player, knows how to win a foul, which is something we've seen a lot of, and I think he'll be very good in terms of getting free kicks and progressing the ball up the pitch and just relieving pressure on the defence, which you're naturally going to see a lot more of as a newly promoted team than other teams in the league. Touchwood, we don't see as much pressure on our back line as Leicester do in this match. But yeah, I can see the counter-attack being very clinical for them in the route they like to go. And with players like Harry Winks and obviously Oliver Skipp, a new signing for them, and Ndidi, they've got real workhorses in the midfield. And it'll be interesting to see the battle between them and Doucouré and Wharton, who I think will be starting in our midfield. That's going to be a really interesting battle, and one that I can't really I can't wait to watch and really see who's going to come out on top. Obviously, we've got the with Wharton and Doucouré, they've got the ability to play that box-to-box role. They've got a good engine on him. Obviously, Wharton, these 2 weeks will have done him a world of good, having a bit of a break. He wasn't called up to England squad, which I think with the start to the season he's had in terms of the fatigue that he's apparently had, and there's rumours that he had a little bit of a knock at the start of the season anyway, that he was recovering from, which is why he was getting subbed off quite early in games. I think that though these 2 weeks would have done him a world of good, and we're going to hopefully see the benefits of that and see him start to maybe last a little bit longer in games before you start to see him start flagging and losing a bit of energy and fatiguing a bit earlier than he probably would have at the end of last season. So that'll be massive. And Doucouré looked like he was back to his best when he came on against Chelsea. It's been a while since we've seen him come off the bench or start a game for Palace and play like that, obviously since his injury against Luton last season, and yeah, he looked back to his best. He was unreal in that second half. The amount of interceptions, the way he just broke up the play and then started counter-attacks of our own. And I think that's going to be crucial, especially against Leicester, because the times that Leicester do have the ball, they're going to try and get up the pitch as quickly as they can. And I think having players like Doucouré to break it up and just frustrate them and to launch counter-attacks of our own, which with our new signings in the squad as well, and the way I think we'll set up, I think will be really, really important. It's the way Glasner likes to play as well, really quick, dynamic wing-backs bombing forward, as we all know. So I'm really interested to see the battle between the two teams, and I think on paper, I'm really excited about this one, as I think this is a great chance for our first win of the season. Let's put it plainly and clearly. I'll get to my score prediction at the end of the video, but this is a game that we've got to be looking to win, in my opinion. But it's not going to be easy at all. I know it's very cliched, but no game in the Premier League is easy. We know that. But this Leicester City team in particular, there's been signs there that they've got, well, they haven't had a win either yet, but there's signs there that they're going to get that win soon, I'm sure. And they took Villa all the way down to the last 10 minutes before they ended up losing that game. So they're not an easy team by any means, and they've got a good manager who knows what needs to be done to stay up and to get points in the league. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic works between Glasner and Cooper as well on the touchline, and who comes out on top. I'd like to think at home we come out on top. When Glasner came in at the end of last season or midway through last season, most of our points were at home in the way he plays. So we obviously had a poor start with that game against West Ham at home, but I think we'll bounce back strong in this one. I'm hoping to see that anyway. In terms of how I think we'll line up, as I said, I think we'll see introduction of new signings, and I think that's what everyone's really excited about. It's not just Palace coming back after the international break, having Premier League football back, but specifically seeing new signings and new faces in the squad. It's something we all love to see, especially when there's a lot of hype around a few of them. Good money on Eddie Nketiah, and he's a signing I'm really excited about seeing, because I just think he's a very good finisher. His goals per minutes with Arsenal, he didn't have a lot of starts, but when he did, he found the back of the net. Premier League hat-trick to his name. As well against Sheffield United. He's a player that, this time last season was being rumoured to have a £40 million fee, and that would have been silly money at the time for us to have paid. Another team may have thought it'd be worth it, but not for us. For around the fee of 20 mil plus add-ons, like 25 million that we're paying this time round, I think it's a good signing. Still young, still got a lot to prove, and he's a South London boy, and I love that about him, and Chalobah on loan as well. Local boys as well, and I think there's always it's always quite a special feeling having those sort of players in the squad, who've grown up around here. Mark Gay's another one, all from the South London boroughs. And I think it's just something nice about that, and I think that brings a real family feel. Eze as well, and you saw the reaction. It went around social media when Nketiah came, had his first day at the club, and his link up with Eze. They played a lot together in the under-21 England setup. So I think that link-up's really exciting on paper, and that's another reason I'm really excited to see what happens. So in terms of setting up, I do think the formation will be slightly different. Obviously, we like to play that 5-2-3 setup. Now that we've got these new players in, and Elise obviously won in the summer, Now that the signings and the transfer window is complete, I think we will be. It's more than likely we'll play a 5-2-1-2 sort of system, a little bit narrower, not having the wingers up there supporting the wing backs. I think the wing backs going to be doing a lot more work now, and you're going to have a more narrow system in terms of the midfield and the spine of the team. My predicted lineup: Dean Henson in goal, started really well this season. Man of the match, hands down against Chelsea. Best performance for me I've seen him do, arguably ever, in a Palace shirt against Chelsea. He was unreal. So hopefully that continues. He's been great this season so far. None of the goals I'd say have been his fault, in particular that we conceded this season. So really good start to the season for Henderson, and just what you want as the new number one, to lock that position down. And with Johnston going off to Wolves, you don't want there to be any regrets in that, and at the moment it doesn't look like it, so that's great. Back three now, this is an interesting one because a lot of us will want to, including myself, want to see the new signings all go in there. Personally, I don't necessarily think that will happen. I won't be upset at all if Lacroix and Chalobah go into this back three straight off the bat. Won't be unhappy with that at all. I've got a feeling, though, that Chalobah may not start. I think Lacroix will go straight in, 100%, as a permanent signing, and another great signing, in my opinion, on paper. Another player who's worked under Glasner in Germany at his time at Wolfsburg, knows the manager knows the player, and that makes the whole process of coming into this setup and learning about the tactics a lot quicker. It's a lot easier. It's just about familiarising himself with the players and obviously the pace of the Premier League, which I think with his physical stature, his abilities on the ball, that has been well documented. I don't think that's going to be a problem for him at all. So hopefully we see him get up to speed quite quickly in the Premier League, Lacroix. But he's, as a permanent signing, I see him starting in the middle with Marc Guéhi on the left side. And I still think that Chris Richards will carry on playing in that back three. Whether it's on the right side or the left side, he switches with Marc Guéhi. I don't know. But I do think in this game he'll carry on. I don't think there's a particular reason to drop him. Again, if we start Chalobah, obviously a loan signing into the team, again, a really good loan signing in my opinion, and someone who, again, will want to get this season, will want to perform as a loanee, and will want to show that Chelsea were wrong in terms of getting him out the squad at the time they did. I think he can add a lot to our team, and I will certainly expect to see him starting a lot of games this season. And I won't be unhappy if he does start. I just think that having 2 out of the 3 back three change is quite a lot in the space of obviously an international break. They've had time to gel together, but going from that back line who did so well against Chelsea away, defended really well in that second half, to then change 2 of them in that and just have Marc Guéhi as the regular in there. I don't know if that's too many changes to have, and it may see us leak a few more chances in the early stages. Maybe that's just me being a little bit my Palace head on and being a bit cautious there and worrying a bit too much about the chances that we're going to concede in the game. So I personally would keep Richards in there and just bring in Lacroix and then bring in Chalobah at a later date and just bleed them in like that rather than do too many changes in the back line all at once. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Am I being a bit too overcautious there? I think we'll be fine either way. Deep down, I wouldn't be upset if Chalobah started, but me personally, I would just bring in Lacroix and then give it a week or 2, and then have Chalobah coming off the bench, etc., and then have him come into the back line permanently. Especially because Richards doesn't deserve to be dropped for me at the moment. He's been playing very well as well. So that would be my back three. It'd be Richards, Guéhi and Lacroix. I don't know how they'd set up in their back three, but that would be the 3 across there. Obviously, Mitchell and Munoz at the wing backs. They're going to have a lot of work to do, as I said, in this formation that I think will play. Then, as I said, Doucouré and Wharton sitting in front of the back 3. I've already said how well they played against Chelsea and how well that those 2 players, we've been waiting for so long to see the Doucouré-Wharton link up in the midfield. That is going to be the starting 2 for the rest of the season if they stay fit. That is really exciting on paper, and we saw glimpses of how good it could be in that second half against Chelsea. And then ahead of it, I think it'll be Eze in the hole in the number 10 spot. I think he's so much more effective in that position there, right behind the striker, then out wide on the left. We've said this for a while now, but obviously the front 3 system that we have been playing under Glasner, there's been a lot of flexibility there and freedom for the players to come inside the wingers and to act as like 2 number 10s or to switch. So it's not fixed positions there, and Eze's had a lot of chances and created obviously so much cutting in from that left flank, especially at the end of last season, the amount of goals he created and assisted and scored. But I do think just having him in behind the striker, being able to roam around that centre midfield spot and then bring the ball up from Doucouré-Wharton, I think he's just in the game a lot more and has a lot more touches in that position. And you want players like Eze. Since Elise's gone now as well, he is the star player in our side. He is the X factor. He's the one you want on the ball most, and that is the position to put him in if you want him on the ball and getting more touches. So I think he'll be in the number 10 spot there. And then Nketiah and Mateta up front. And two players who I think will complement each other well. Having Mateta as this really good finisher, as we saw at the end of last season, when the confidence is flowing, he has such great finishing ability, but the ability to hold up the ball and just take the ball on the chest from long balls at the back or short passes, whatever, hold the man off behind in the defender and just lay it off. He was so good at that last season, and we've seen glimpses of that this season. I think with the Olympics and obviously the lack of pre-season with the squad, it's taken him a little bit longer to get up to speed. And again, he's another player who I think, like Wharton, has probably benefited from having this time off over the international break to now, get a bit of to rest and get rid of a bit of that fatigue that he's had from the summer. And I think we're going to see the best of him in the weeks to come, which is going to be great. He hasn't been poor by any means, but he hasn't looked like the Mateta we saw last season. But there's obviously reasons for that, having the Olympics, etc., and playing so well in the Olympics. He's going to score goals this season, Mateta, but I think him having the more target man style striker now and having the poacher finisher like Nketiah was for Arsenal, and having him in and around the box doing little 1-2s, things like that, I think that's really exciting on paper. And that's how I see the team lining up against Leicester. I think the wing-backs, as always, are so crucial to how we play, and I think players like Fatawu, who is almost certainly going to start, and Ayew, we know Ayew's going to track back and bring that defensive work rate. Will he last 90 minutes? That's another thing. Fatawu, I don't know how good he's going to be, though, going back. So it gives a chance for us to exploit the wing-backs there. Justin and Christensen almost certainly going to start the wing-backs, the full-backs for Leicester. They played 4-2-3-1 in their last game against Aston Villa, so probably going to play the same formation. Chance for those one-on-one battles with Eze floating to the left or right to help them and support them. Again, little 1-2s, getting in and involved and finding those pockets of space. On paper, looks really, really exciting. Personally, I'm going to predict a 3-1 result here. I think we're going to score goals here. It's a bold claim because we haven't scored that many goals for a while now. And we've only had one goal for this so far this season. That was Eze's banger against Chelsea. One goal that we've scored and not had a known goal, like the first game against Brentford. But I think 3-1, and I think this is a chance to really get our first win on the board against a team that we've got to look to be winning if we want to have another top 10 finish this year and aim to finish higher than that. These are the games you've got to take advantage of at the end of the day, and I think that a good performance for me is the main thing first and foremost. That's what we all go to the games to see. Since Glasner's come in, that's what we almost expect to see. Our good performances, exciting performances at home. And I think if we play at our best, our squad, man for man, should be beating Leicester. And hopefully we'll see those goals come in. But let me know your thoughts down below, guys. That's the preview for the game of the weekend. I'm really excited. I'm going to be there. If I see any of you there, please come and say hi. Always love to chat to you guys at the games. Really excited for this. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you are new, and if you want to see more Palace content, more videos to come in the future, guys. And if you have any suggestions or videos you want to see, drop them in the comment section below. I read all the comments. Big love to you all. 3-1 is my score prediction for this game. Let me know your thoughts and predictions down below.